The reason anyone is broke in the Western world today is because they are one of three things. They are either lazy, they are arrogant, or they are stupid. And if you're broke, you are one of those three things. I don't care what excuse you try and fucking give me. You're gonna have to choose which one you are. The amount of money that is traveling around and floating around the planet is ridiculous. We're talking about inflation being out of control. It's because they're printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. It has to go somewhere. Now, they try their very best to keep it amongst the elites, and they do that. But if you're anywhere near the elite, you get money, right? If there's a rainstorm, all you have to do is walk outside, you're gonna get wet. The difference between me and everyone else is I know where the door is to walk outside. Everyone else is just fucking floundering around the room, looking on the floor for pennies, like a jackass, right? There's so much money. It's so easy to make money in the world today. It truly is. And the reason if you're poor and you're remaining poor is because you're the lazy, arrogant, or stupid. So we'll talk about those three things. 99.9% of the people I've interacted with in my life are lazy. And when I say lazy, I mean it in the genuine term of the word. They're lazy. They think that they come up with bullshit like work-life balance and, well, there's no point working if you don't enjoy yourself and all this other fucking shit. And they remain lazy. And the problem is that the world we live in is player versus player. Now, I would like to believe in a world where you don't have to wake up and think about the money, where you don't have to wake up and think about the bag. You don't have to wake up and think, how do I get paid? Where instead you could wake up and think, I want to enjoy my time. I want to spend time with my family, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is it's player versus player. There are people like me. There are sharks in the ocean. If you want to stay a fish, you're going to fucking lose. There are people like me who wake up and think, fuck it, I want more. Don't give a shit. I already have everything I could ever think of. I already have enough money to buy everything I could ever dream of. I can't even think of anything on the planet I want. Don't care. I want more so I can take it from others. There are people like me that exist, and you have to compete against people like me. It's player versus player. So when I say lazy, my entire life is work. And when I say that, people think that's depressing. No, it's not. It's not depressing. I love it. Every single thing I do is work. When I go to the gym, it's so I'm in fantastic shape, so I can call everyone a brokey, and they don't want to come up to me on the street because I know I'll fuck them up. Work. When I come here and do a podcast and have a nice conversation with you gentlemen, work. Because most people who come to me and say, oh, I'd love to be rich. No, you wouldn't. Because if you'd love to be rich, you'd be working. Now the people will say, well, I don't know what to work on. That's another lie. And the reason that's a lie is because there's always more work to do. Now, how much you care about something is directly correlated to how much work you find to do. Mm-hmm. If you truly love a coin, you can polish it forever, right? You can find work to do. If you sit there and go, oh, my work's done, then you haven't tried to find work. You can always find work. I don't give a shit if you're a carpenter. I'm a carpenter and I finished my work. Then go drop leaflets about carpentry. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to stay home. Then you don't want to be rich. Do you have a phone and some time? Yes. Are you a lazy jackass? No. Okay, then you can be rich. You can have a Ferrari. What the fuck are you waiting for? And when I say arrogant, because there are people who are going to listen to this podcast, listen to everything I've said and go, yeah, that makes sense, but might be a scam, and not join. So most of you are either lazy or arrogant. Some people are so arrogant you couldn't help them if you fucking tried. Every single individual, especially men, we're born with we have an ego, right? And I think the ego is a very important thing. If you read any of the modern bullshit that is pumped out by the Matrix, they say, you must get rid of your ego, you must remove your ego. But I disagree with that absolutely. That's the Matrix trying to program us all to be slaves. If someone has an ego, they are full of pride. And if you're full of pride, you do a good job. If you are proud of yourself, if you're proud of your body, you're gonna have a good body. If you're proud of your work, you're gonna do good work. If you're proud of the things you say, you're gonna make sure the things you say are intellectual and well thought through, right? So they try and tell you to have no ego, to remove your pride so that you'll accept the programming from the Matrix. They wanna make sure that you're an empty vessel. They can just insert their programming. So you need to have an ego. And the ego can either be your best friend or your enemy. An ego you work hard to justify is a superpower. An ego that you have without justification is here to hinder you. So I'll give you an example of me, right? I've always had an ego. But I realized that I was full of shit having an ego if I wasn't actually a capable fighter who was rich as fuck with a dangerous world-class network. I realized that having an ego without those things was just bollocks. So I had 87 professional fights and I made $100 million. And I built the war room and got one of the most powerful networks on the planet. And now I get to have my ego justified and I get to sit here on podcasts and talk with confidence because I've justified my ego. I knew what I wanted to be and I justified it, right? If you have an ego and go, well, I don't have those things, but I don't need those things, then you're fucked. And the last is stupid. And this is the smallest category, right? I don't think you need to be smart to make money. I really don't think you need to be that intelligent to make money. I think less than 5% of the population is too stupid to make money. Do you know how TikTok works? Are you too stupid to upload a TikTok video? No, then you can make money. Are you too stupid to upload a YouTube video? No, then you can make money. Are you too stupid to, even if you can't do it yourself, to go on Fiverr and get someone to edit a video that you can put on your channel. Like no one's too stupid to make money. They're just too lazy and too arrogant. It's actually a miracle if you think about it. It's a miracle that, let's look at the educational system, that the educational system functions. They have convinced people to spend 50, 60, 70, 100,000 pounds to go to university, get in debt, to learn business from a dude who's never had a business with no money. What the fuck? What the fuck are you doing? Like, have you lost your mind? It's bullshit. And everyone knows it's bullshit. And they've done it because they've managed to get the educational system to operate inside of a vacuum. They've managed to link the loan with the educational system so it's vacuum. It's a vacuum and it can't be compared fairly to any other service. So if you look at a candy bar, right? That candy bar has to be competitive on price because you can buy any candy bar. But when it comes to education, you can only access the money if you go to university. You can't compare that money if you were to invest it in cryptocurrency or start your own business or invest it in some kind of particular training for some particular trade or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can only go university with that money, which devalues the money and devalues the education. If you were to take 50 grand, if you were to give everybody 50 grand and say you can do whatever you want with this 50 grand, you can buy Bitcoin, for example.
No one's going to uni with that.
Yeah. Who's going to choose uni? They can't compete. They
Yeah.
can't compete on an open marketplace, right? So they operate inside of a vacuum, and then they convince people to go to these schools. They get you in debt early because that's what they want. Now you have to get a job. You have to get 9 to 5. You have to keep paying it off. So the first thing you need to do is to understand that the whole system's rigged and you've been fucked from the beginning. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
You have to understand that the system in and of itself is slavery, and you can just be a different level of slave. That's all you can be.
Yep.
Then you have to find a way to escape the system. The easiest way to escape the system is via network. You have to know people. The whole world is only people. Every single institution on earth, every single organization, every single business, etc. It's just people in a room. What's this podcast now? People in a room.
Yeah.
What's Tesla? Elon's business. People go to a factory, build something. What's a government? A bunch of people turn up to a building, decide to enslave everybody. It's people in a room. If you don't know any people, you're fucked. And they fool everyone because it keeps you inside the matrix working your ass off, right? Once my mortgage is paid off in 19 years, I'm going to be rich. No, you're fucking not. One. And two, now you have to comply with laws. You have a mortgage to pay. You have a job. You need to make sure the bills are paid. You don't want to lose the house. You have a family. You have to sit there, and when they say put a mask on, even though you know it's bullshit, you have to do it. It's part of the system they use to enslave. So when you look at the world the way I look at it, even things all the way down to property ownership are a scam. All of these things are a scam because you don't actually truly own anything. And then what you try and do is you try and build a life like I have, where you're actually beyond the influence of governments, and it's fucking hard. In the real world, if you want to get rich, it's nearly impossible to get rich without learning lessons along the way, right? If you want to make millions of dollars in the real world, sooner or later, you're going to have to get staff, which means you have to learn to manage people and motivate people. You're going to learn how to fire people, how to hire people, how to tell if someone's lying to you about a vaccine. You're going to be able to learn things about tax code. You're going to be able to learn things about, no, it's true. You're going to end up needing an office. You're going to have to learn about real estate and leasing. Then you're going to need to learn about how to sell a company and present a company, or perhaps go to a bank and obtain finance and do presentations and do sales. You're going to learn all these things along the way, because money doesn't make a man, money amplifies a man. So if you're a smart person with money, you become very smart. If you're an idiot with money, you become a real big idiot.
Yeah.
If you're a G with money, you become the top G. So because if you're none of those three things, it's impossible to remain poor in the modern world, in the West. There is so much money. I'm going to rub it in for all the brokies quickly. There is so much fucking money in the world. I want you to, when you drive down a street, go to London, drive down a street. Every building's worth what? 20 million, 50 million, 100 million. Someone owns all this shit, right? That hotel's $1 billion hotel. That fucking restaurant's worth 15 million. You can take a taxi ride and drive past £1 trillion fucking pounds. Who owns all that shit? People own all of this, right? There's so much money in the world. Look deep in your own eyes and work out which one you truly are. Am I fucking stupid? Well, I don't think I'm stupid. No, I'm not stupid, because everything Andrew said made sense. Okay, I'm not stupid. Am I lazy? I guess a little bit. Am I arrogant? Work out which one it is and fucking fix it. Blink and cure your brain. And once you're no longer lazy or arrogant, you just have to find someone to learn from, right? You have to go, okay, I'm not lazy, I'm not arrogant. I want someone who's really willing to teach me. A lot of people on the internet were full of shit. I ain't full of shit. Congratulations. Job done. You're about to be rich and get yourself a Lamborghini. Tag me on Instagram when you get it. I might even share it, get you some pussy.